This week on The Amazing Race, the teams traveled to a brand new location for the show, Slovenia. And joining me now is last place team sister duo, Morgan and Lena. Ladies, thanks for taking the time to speak with me. How are we feeling after last night's episode?
We're feeling great, sad but great.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
definitely sad our journeys came to an end, but we had an incredible run on the show.
yeah, absolutely. I would say that's very true. Now, let's start off with this. Why did you ladies want to apply and ultimately compete on this show together?
Morgan and I love spending time with each other so much that we thought, what could be better than fighting on national television? Honestly, me and my sister are like we're at a breaking point in life where it didn't seem like we were having a lot of like joy spending time to each other. Me and my sister talk very frequently. Like we see each other a lot during the year, even though we live on opposite sides of the coast. But we have a lot of like fights, and so the Amazing Race was kind of this incredible opportunity for us to like basically replace going to therapy or trying some more like extreme measures. We were like, what's more extreme than traveling around the world for months together and just having it be us. So what really brought us here is like where our relationship was and where we wanted our relationship to get to. It's been a constant trial and error of trying to become each other's best friends.
And Blake, Lena's a crazy super fan of the show. So when she wanted to go, I was like, are you kidding? She's like, no, I'm very serious.
I told Morgan, I was like, I am racing. So, you're either with it or you're not with it. And then she told me, she was like, how could you ever imagine doing this with anyone but me? And I was like, if you say that, I was like, you can't back out. Like
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere else. So yeah, it was pretty incredible to do this with my sister.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you just touched on this a little bit, but I think that the show did kind of highlight your guys' rocky relationship of sorts. So, what do you feel like was maybe your hardest challenge to overcome on the show, whether it be something you experienced on the show or your relationship or whatever you want to, however you want to frame that?
I think for us, the most difficult challenge that we had wasn't even considered a challenge, and it was navigating in the city centers. We really, really struggled. We would make the long hauls just fine. And then we get in the city centers, it was a pain.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it led to our biggest arguments on the race. I think we were wildly supportive, whether that's shown or not, of each other. But we really struggled, literally finding parking garages. That was our biggest challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, would you guys say, though, that your sister relationship improved from competing on the show together?
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Morgan and I it's very hard to even put into words. We had so much fun shooting. Like we were laughing with each other. We had such a great time, like even on like the off time of when we got up every morning and we looked at each other and we're like, whatever we do today, that's good enough. And we never
Mm-hmm.
had this moment where like it's like a beat you down. We woke up every day and we were like, oh my God, we're in India. Like, when were we ever going to get to go to India? But also, when were we ever going to get to go together? The show, like being on the show has just changed everything for us because it made us realize like it is actually very hard for us to make an excuse of like, if we're fighting, why we would ever keep fighting, because clearly we're able to reconcile our differences a lot better than we were able to acknowledge prior to going on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, something I've been curious to know. So you guys obviously received the first express pass of the season. I shouldn't say receive, you earned it. But do you feel like you used it at an appropriate time, or do you wish now, looking back, that you would have saved it for a little bit further down in the race?
So, Lena, you say the line because I can't say it correctly.
There's a
drive by your cab driver, like an amazing race. Like our boat driver was just not it, and he
Mm-hmm.
had no interest in driving. Even after we got the express pass, like you saw Joel and Garrett beat us there, even though we left before. Like our driver just was not great, and we were going to be put in a position where we were never going to deliver the fruit. And so if you look at the show, we never delivered one piece of fruit because that's how bad our driver was. So we didn't
Mm-hmm.
really have a choice. We could have waited and seen. We didn't know it was gonna be a mega leg. We didn't know that, the final challenge that we would unfortunately pick a harder challenge. But it for us in that moment, knowing what we knew was the right decision. And we stand by that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, walk me through that final leg in Slovenia. Kind of tell me, what was that experience like for you on that last day? And do you feel like there's maybe anything you could have done differently to maybe not end up in last place?
oh my gosh, there's like 10 different things that me and Morgan could have done to just give us back a few minutes. For us, Slovenia wasn't anything where we made one terribly wrong decision, because there was no point at which the sisters do what the sisters normally do, where we sit somewhere for an hour and we just basically watch time pass. We made a lot of good decisions in Slovenia. We chose the right activities to do. We didn't really get lost except for like off the highway back to the city center. We also hadn't stopped to ask for directions because we knew it was literally that dire. We were like, we'll follow the signs, and like the signs have been very clear. It was hard for us. One of the most challenging parts was like just starting the day and realizing when we got to the plane that we were one of the like teams that were behind. When we went to go get our car, everybody had gotten their car. We had stopped and gotten turn by turn directions because we call it amazing race lost. We didn't want to get amazing race lost. We did get amazing race lost in the parking garage looking for our car because there was only one car left. So there were some things that just like tripped us up during the day, but ultimately we could have done like literally just one thing different in Slovenia and we would have had a different outcome. So
our point of view is like there are no what ifs in the race. It's like life, like you make one change, it's the butterfly effect. We did the best that we could, and there's not much we could have done differently because we don't know what the outcome would have been. Something changed for us could have changed something for somebody else. So we did the best that we could that day, and it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys traveled to a lot of really cool places this season. So what was your favorite location to visit? And then also maybe your favorite task that you got to do?
That's a hard question. That's a really hard question.
I liked Slovenia. We have Morgan has this this bag that's Morgan, what does your bag say with the dragon on it? Yeah, I'll show you. We'll show you. Hold on.
I forgot about, well, I mean, I clearly didn't forget because I use it. This was us then.
Oh my gosh.
It was the only day I wore glasses. It was so
Here's my dragon.
It was so lucky. So I don't know, like every day was special, and honestly, I think for me, the tile challenge, as it was very telling. It made the race very real. And I really see the race as like the game of life. And so to really palpably feel how much you love and care about somebody and how much you want to support and be there for them, to me, it's just very telling. So
okay, this might be surprising to you, Morgan, but I think one of my favorite moments in the race is actually when Morgan did the dance in India, because we read this clue, right? And what you will never get to see is we spent 2 hours in the hotel trying to get Morgan to balance something on her head, but we were always racing to get to the finale. So we knew we had to like balance the amount of activities that people were doing. So we opened this clue and it says like, who likes to balance things or something like that. And I turned to Morgan and I said, it's your turn. And she was like, okay, I'll do it. And it was so scary because she had to balance something on her head while learning a dance routine. We are not dancers. Dance routines are scary. And when I say Morgan did that challenge so fast, I think you were the second or the third person.
Third, yeah.
You're the third person to get out of there. But like, I was so proud of my sister, one, for like not being spooked by the balancing thing, and then two, for learning this dance incredibly quickly. Like, she's had a lot of Indian friends who watch Bollywood movies, so she knew the hand motions. It was the right decision to make. But if anybody knew that I knew that Morgan couldn't balance things on her head and I still let her do the balancing challenge, everyone would have been like, what kind of like drugs are you guys doing? Morgan just killed it. And that was one of the moments on the show that was like, I was so happy to get to see her like do the full costume, do the dance, and to get to support her through it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like you guys really did learn so much about each other and really learn to love each other, maybe in a different kind of way on the show. My final question that I ask every team, if the opportunity presented itself, would you guys return to the race again in a future season?
100%.
We would go back in 2 minutes. We learned so much. I mean, we'd be better map readers. I can tell you that.
We would be experts.
We'd be expert map readers. I think if we ever got to go back on the show, everyone should be very afraid, because And you'll see
Ooh.
this if you watch like any of our other interviews. We were very fast. We were a very fast team. And the mistakes that we made in this season are not mistakes that I could see us doing again if we had the opportunity to come back. So you will not be fighting with us at the end of the mat. You will be fighting with us for first.
Ooh, okay. Those are fighting words. I like hearing that. Well, we hope to see you guys again in the future. Morgan, Lena, congrats on an amazing run on this season of The Amazing Race. It was great getting to speak with you. And for all of our viewers, keep tuning into The Amazing Race Wednesdays on CBS. Thank you, ladies.